Good evening everyone, Luke here for another Foxy discussion video, and yes, this week we have Foxy being water, because I decided I should probably be a bit more hydrated, and I've had a slight costume change. So yeah, instead of my grey jumper, I have the Confuzzle 2018 Let's Play t-shirt. For this week, I am going to be discussing something that is very dear to me, so it's going to be a little bit of a discussion on the furry fandom. Now, I'm not going to be talking about what a furry is, due to many more talented people than I discussing it in far greater detail than I ever could. No, for this week's Foxy discussion video, I will be talking about fursuits and how I think they are essentially the equivalent of fandom eye candy. I actually got some notes for this one because I didn't want to get it wrong. Because yes, when I'm just thinking thoughts from my brain, I'm probably going to get squeaky, and probably going to get a bit overexcited, and I want to try and bring together a cohesive thought for this one. So I've actually got a few notes, which I will be reading from my computer as Foxy hydrates me. So yeah, if you don't know what a fursuit is, because yes, I always forget that not everyone is furry, a fursuit is a custom-made cosplay of an anthropomorphic animal character. An anthropomorph is an animal with human-like qualities. Therefore, fursuits, in my opinion, are used to bring such a character to life via the actions of an individual. However, whenever the media discusses the furry fandom, they treat it like all communities and wholly inform the viewer of the many facets that all communities have, right? Right? No, not at all. So yeah, if you couldn't tell, that's a little bit of British sarcasm. I'm not very good with sarcasm myself, so I figured I would point that out for those that didn't really pick up on that. But yeah, no, the mainstream media is probably the worst at actually representing any community in the world. Because yeah, their job is to sensationalise things, and the mainstream media represents the furry fandom as closely as Scooby-Doo follows his diet plan. So yeah, that's a thing. But yeah, whenever the furry fandom is encountered in media or general conversation, there's always one centralised talking point, and it's not that god-awful CSI episode that everyone barks on about. No, it's fandom eye candy, roll credits, which is the fursuit. Now, the image of a member of the furry community dressed in a fursuit seems to be ingrained in the public eye, due to such being the most visually stimulating part of the fandom to mainstream media. I mean, I get the appeal of covering that. You have fursuit parades, you have public suiting, and then you've got that pervasive guff on YouTube where you have suitors making a nuisance of themselves in public spaces, where they're just not really welcome, to be honest, which just reinforces the stereotype that furries must always be wearing fursuits and are annoying and chirpy, which, yes, I know I can be annoying and chirpy at times, and a bit high energy and a bit squeaky, but not everyone wears a fursuit. Not all furries wear a fursuit. It's not a thing. Like, manners maketh the man, but a fursuit does not maketh the fur. It's just, it's not the way it works. Don't just take my word for it, though. Let's use some delicious statistics. I can't use words today. Some delicious statistics. There we go. I said delicious because I'm a fluffy nerd. So yeah, only 10 to 15% of the fandom own full fursuits. Now, I'll bring up the little graph for this. This was from the International Furry Survey of 2011. But look, that source is 7 years old. That's not reliable. Well, let's have a look at the International Anthropomorphic Research Project from 2016, only 2 years ago. So that would have been the same proportions reflected in that recent study, with only 25% of furs owning partial fursuits, with a similar 10 to 15% of the fandom owning full fursuits also. But I do want to raise the point that the overlap between full and partial ownership is unknown, because some individuals do own both a partial fursuit and a full fursuit, so there might be a bit of overlap, and therefore that the numbers might be slightly lower for those that own both a partial and full fursuit. Therefore, I feel these statistics are indicative of a large proportion of the fandom not owning a fursuit, and yet it's the most oft-thought thing when discussing all stuff fluff. When media sensationalism, when media sensationalism, there we go, big words for a little bat, of fursuiting overtakes all the other amazing facets of the fandom, I think everyone loses out. fursuiters lose, as they're inextricably linked in the public eye to a TV show that is over a decade old, and you know which one I'm talking about if you're into that sensationalism as well. Non-suiting furs lose out, with many talented and amazing artists and creators having their hard work glossed over just straight onto that fandom eye candy. We're looking at these fursuits, that is it, nothing else exists but this in the furry fandom, when that's just not true. And then not only this, but the mainstream media loses out as well. I mean, how good a story would a couple of thousand people coming together for a charity event to raise money be? How heartwarming and endearing would this be for their viewers and readers? I mean, you just don't see it, do you? And yet over £22,000 was raised for charity by Confuzzled this year. £22,000 for the Bale Wildlife Hospital. Will this be celebrated in the papers or the morning news? Well, I haven't seen it, but probably not. And herein lies the kicker. Whenever we focus on one aspect of a community, whether it be for good or bad reasons, the wondrous complexities of a multifaceted and talented group of individuals are lost. Well, yeah, that was a bit of a posit on fursuiting. And yeah, as you can probably tell, I care a lot about getting this right and getting it cohesive. Because yes, I actually have a script for this video, which is probably one of the rarest things. It's rarer than having a non-sensationalized media piece on fursuiting. God, I needed that water. Thank you, Foxy. But yeah, don't get me wrong. I love fursuits as their great way to bring a character to life. You just have that visual aspect of portraying a character, and yeah, I absolutely love it. But it's not everything. It doesn't make the furry fandom. You don't have to own a fursuit to be a furry. It's just not a thing. But yeah, that's enough of me waffling on. As I was advised at Confuzzled, I'm going to stop talking shop and go hug a fluffy thing, i.e. the Fluffy Fox Luke. So sadly it comes to the shill bit of the video again. If you enjoyed this Bats Overthought meandering discussion on fursuits of all stuff fluff, leave a like, comment and subscribe. If not, that's perfectly fine as well. Those sorts of things can just be erased from my mind, much like that horrendous episode of CSI that I can never unwatch. Thanks again though for watching our videos. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and good night.